By the late 1960s, rock music was evolving fast, new sounds breaking away from the blues. And if there's anything that I've learned from the first 5 episodes worth of research, it's that rock and roll from its inception became bigger every single year with louder guitars, wilder crowds, and more chaos leading the charge. Then suddenly a band came along and it felt less formed and more summoned. Led Zeppelin didn't just join the movement, it became its storm. They took the heart of the blues and they supercharged it with power and mystery and sheer volume. Every riff and rhythm carried the sense of something ancient, almost spiritual, wrapped in the raw energy of rock. They didn't follow the trends of their time, they defined them. Much like the first 5 episodes, they set a foundation for rock and roll and heavy metal, and they left a sense of mystique that still hangs over music today. So whether you've only heard Stairway to Heaven on classic rock radio, or you've always wondered what made them the band that other musicians worship, this is definitely your starting point. Welcome to the second half of Season 1, Episode 6. This is Led Zeppelin for Beginners. For beginners. Before they became the gods of hard rock, Led Zeppelin started as a replacement project. Jimmy Page had just finished his time with the Yardbirds, and when the band fell apart in 1968, he decided to build something new, a supergroup built around power and precision. Within a few months, he had found singer Robert Plant, keyboardist bassist John Paul Jones, and drummer John Bonham, and together they became the New Yardbirds for about a week. When The Who's Keith Moon joked that their new band would go down like a lead balloon, Page took that joke literally. He changed the spelling, and the name Led Zeppelin was born. They recorded their debut album in just over a week, financed entirely by Page himself, a bold move that showed that he already knew what he had. Within months, Led Zeppelin was already playing to packed houses and creating what hard rock could and should sound like. Led Zeppelin's lineup was one of those rare combinations that felt almost destined. Jimmy Page was born in 1944 in Heston, England. He was already a sought-after session guitarist, playing on albums for The Who, The Kinks, and dozens more. Robert Plant was born in 1948 in West Bromwich. He brought a voice that led the charge of what a rock singer could sound like. It was high, and it was wild, and it was soulful. John Paul Jones was born in 1946 in Sidcup. Sidcup is a town southeast of London. He was the quiet architect, classically trained, handling keys, bass, and arrangements, a foundation that held the band together. John Bonham was born in 1948 in Redditch. Redditch is a borough of Worcestershire, England. Worcestershire. Worcestershire. There's the one. John Bonham was pure force and a big inspiration of mine. His drumming could swing and crush all at the same time, turning rhythm into something that felt almost alive. But Zeppelin's story also carries a real sense of loss. In 1980, Bonham passed away suddenly at just 32 years old. His power behind the kid was irreplaceable, and the band knew it. They disbanded soon after, saying that they couldn't continue without him. Even today, every reunion or tribute circles back to Bonham's influence. He wasn't just the heartbeat of the band, he was Led Zeppelin. From the moment Led Zeppelin started recording, their sound and their success exploded almost overnight. Led Zeppelin I in 1969 was raw and blues-driven. It was the perfect snapshot of a band trying to capture lightning in a bottle. Their opening track, Good Times, Bad Times, showed off Bonham's precision right away, while Dazed and Confused stretched the blues into something dark and experimental. That same year, Led Zeppelin II dropped. Written on tour, recorded on the run, you can hear that live energy. Whole Lotta Love was pure energy, and Heartbreaker proved that guitar could be its own voice. By 1970, Led Zeppelin III showed that they weren't afraid to change course. Immigrant Song hit with Viking-sized fury, but songs like That's the Way revealed their love of folk storytelling. Then came Led Zeppelin IV in 1971. No name, no titles, just symbols, and the world got Stairway to Heaven. From Black Dog to rock and roll, every single track became a cornerstone of rock. By the early 1970s, Led Zeppelin wasn't following rock's evolution, they were leading it. Led Zeppelin's albums didn't just mark their success, they showed how fast the band was evolving. Each record showed them refining their mix of power, precision, and imagination that defined their sound. Led Zeppelin I in 1969 introduced their blend of heavy blues and experimentation, a band searching to discover its own power. Led Zeppelin II that same year sharpened their power, Their riffs hit harder, the production was bigger. That record made them a household name. Led Zeppelin III in 1970 pulled things inward. It was acoustic and it was folk-inspired, and it was written after months on the road. Led Zeppelin IV in 1971 became their defining statement. It was a balance of grit and grace, from Black Dog to Stairway to Heaven. Houses of the Holy in 1973 explained their palette. It was groove and it was color and it was playfulness. And Physical Graffiti in 1975 captured Zeppelin at their full creative reach. From blues to folk music to arena rock, every style that they explored, they fused together. Each release pushed them forward, not repeating what worked, but reinventing what could work. If you really want to understand what made Led Zeppelin legendary, you have to see them live, even if it's just through the footage that's out there today. Their 1970 Royal Albert Hall concert shows them still young and hungry. It was tight, it was blues-driven, already playing like a band with something to prove. Fast forward to Madison Square Garden in 1973. By then, they were the gold standard of live rock. The confidence, the sound, the presence, it's all there. Then there's Earl Court in 1975. And that was the proof that they weren't just loud, they were also artists. No Quarter and Kashmir became cinematic moments, filling entire arenas. Finally, Nebworth in 1979. It was their last concert with John Bonham. It was a band that had been through it all, still larger than life, yet still human. And speaking of legacy, one of my dear friends and one of my coworkers over at Pete's Dueling Piano Bar here in Austin, Brent Bobbitt, does the best version of Whole Lotta Love I've ever heard. I've linked his socials in the description. Trust me, he's definitely worth seeing live and in person. Led Zeppelin didn't just change rock, they defined its evolution and its legacy. Their mix of blues and mysticism and raw power became the DNA of modern rock, echoed in everyone from Queen to Aerosmith to Nirvana to Jack White. Even today, when you hear a massive riff or a soaring vocal, there's probably a little Led Zeppelin in it. They proved that rock could be both fire and finesse. It's a balance that still sets the bar half a century later. So that, my friends, is Led Zeppelin for beginners. And speaking of larger than life, we're diving into a band that turned theater into thunder. The pillars of charisma, harmony, and spectacle themselves. I'm talking about the band Queen. Thanks for coming along on this journey with me. We'll see you next time.